All right, welcome. So we today are doing a training on taking a review at 2025, what our challenges were, and turning them into opportunities. And we're going to really look at how to set those goals so it propels us forward in 2026 and not kind of get stuck in this do loop, where we're just constantly kind of spinning our wheels. We want to make sure that we're intentionally moving forward. So for those of you that are new to the group, welcome. We had quite a few last week join us, so we're grateful for that, for our community. My name is Karen Kleinwort, and I'm a holistic business coach. I've been coaching for now almost 20 years, and I'm considered a pioneer in the holistic business industry just because 20 years ago when I started doing holistic business coaching, people didn't know what that actually meant. And I likely spent about 95% of my time educating people about what Reiki was, what cranial sacral was, and how do those merge into and support us in our business. So holistic, mind, body, spirit, we bring the three elements together in all that we do. And so you'll notice that as we go through these trainings every week, as well as the resources and within the community at the Women's Business Resource Community. Now, if you have not, as a member inside the Savvy Women's Facebook group, if you've not created your free account over on the Women's Business Resource Committee, I really recommend that you do, because you can jump into these live trainings every Tuesday and participate and get actual hands-on support and interaction. And getbizsavvy.com/member, free, no credit card required to become a member, but you unlock a lot of resources and fun things to do and just stuff for your business to keep moving, plus the community. So today, my intention, and I feel like I'm talking really fast and I apologize, but I really want to hone in and make sure that I'm honoring the 30-minute commitment, because the whole point of a lunch and learn is for you to be able to bring lunch, sit down with a cup of coffee or a cup of tea or whatever that favorite, beverage is, and a snack or whatever, and get some work done, but actually learn something and start to create momentum for yourself and your business. So I really want to try and honor that 30 minutes. I'll try not to talk too fast. If I'm talking too fast, please let me know. If you're here live, let us know. And if you're watching the replay, let us know that as well. All right, just hashtag replay. I will be checking the comments in the Facebook group as we go along. For those that want to log in, I'm just going to make sure I can see if anybody's here. Okay, and I will let them in as they join. So today, turning challenges into opportunities. How to set goals that are going to help you keep moving forward. And if you caught the training back, I think late October, I did one on the Smart Her goals. And so we added the her part, and that is really that heart aligned, energized element of it. So making sure that our goals just aren't smart from a business perspective, but are smart and honoring us who we are as women business owners. So if this past year, right, 2025, how many was it blur for you? Was it heavier than you expected? I know we had a lot of change for us personally. Did you feel like you were pushing yourself, but still not quite seeing the results that you wanted? I know for me, this really hit home when I started working on the agenda for today's training. I was like, yeah, this is really I'm talking from experience here. Like I'm really talking from firsthand experience. I felt like I spun my wheels a lot this year. I know I made traction. I know I moved forward, but I think today's training is going to help me, because the intention is that by the time we're done today, that you actually are able to say, I know what this year taught me. I know what I want to do next, and I know my first steps. Because that's the whole part of it, right? We need to be able to have the time to reflect, learn what we need to learn, and then start to apply how we're going to make changes from that information, from that education. So I want you to think about, for just a quick check-in, remember this is like this holistic approach, right? I want you to drop a word either in the chat or in the comments or write it on your piece of paper. When you think about 2025, this year in your business, what's the first word that comes to mind? Don't overthink it, just write it down. Whatever first word pops in mind, write it down. It might be something like it was a messy year, surprising, slow, a lot of growth. Were you confused, or beautiful chaos? And I say beautiful chaos because I think that's how I look at this past year, 2025, with all the changes that we did personally as a family, the movement that happened. It was chaotic, but it was so beautiful. And it was amazing in the end, looking back, right? So, whatever comes up, just welcome it. You're not judging it. We're not judging it. We want to use it as information, okay? Um, because it's how we learn and it's how we get to honor ourselves and what our business is doing and where we're going. So, the 3 steps we're going to walk through today are step 1, reflect and reframe. It's so important to be able to reframe what we learn and really be able to identify the underlying information. Step 2 is going to be turning the lessons into aligned goals. The 3rd step, we're going to design a really simple 90-day action plan. Okay, we're embracing that KISS method, right? Keep it simple, silly. So that's what we're going to be working through today. Those 3 steps. All right, if you're ready, let's dive into step 1, the reflect and reframing. A lot of goals, like when we start to look at setting our goals, we kind of think we start from scratch. But the first step really is about reflecting. And so many people skip this step. And I'll include myself in that. I'll find myself just going, oh, I need to set this goal. I'm going to go after, but I haven't reflected back, right? So if we don't actually honor what actually happened in the last 12 months, especially we're looking at this year, as a whole, then when we skip the reflection, we end up repeating the patterns. And we don't want that, right? So for this to really be aligned, you have to be able to listen to yourself. You have to be able to get quiet. So getting quiet is as simple as just focusing on your breathing, just for 1 or 2 breaths, right? Sometimes I'll sit, I'll actually close my eyes when I'm doing it. If you're driving or doing anything, please don't close your eyes. Safety first, right? But just really listen. Take a breath. Exhale. Now on your paper, as you're thinking, right, as you're taking your breath, I want you to kind of just clear the mind of expectations, of society's expectations, because this is about you and your challenges. So on your piece of paper, I want you to write down my top 3 challenges in business. Remember, we're focusing on the business segment. Are what? Write 3 down, right? So 1, 2, 3, write down your top 3 challenges that you experienced. So I'm going to try and do what I have been doing the last 2 or 3 weeks when I've been getting really good at the comment section of my computer is, right? So your heading is my top 3 challenges in business this year. And you're going to write down what are your top 3 challenges. It might sound like I didn't hit my revenue goal. A launch didn't go as planned. Inconsistent, right? I was inconsistent in showing up online. I didn't build the email list that I wanted, or I got overwhelmed and just ghosted my audience. Hey, you saw that happen to me in August and September, right? I just kind of went off the map. I was just, completely burnt out. So just take a quick minute. Don't overthink it. Just write down 3 challenges that you can come up with. Okay, that's action 1. So action 2 for this reflection reframing step is you want to name what challenge made you feel and what did it believe for you to believe, okay? So I want you to write 1 emotion and 1 belief. And remember, this is the difference between this lunch and learn and the previous live trainings is we are action packed. This is like step by step. This is you guys kind of coming to learn and to do and to take action for your business. So you've listed your 3 challenges. For each one of those, you're going to write 1 emotion and 1 belief story next to it. Okay. So an example might be if we use the first one that I had read aloud, right? I didn't hit my revenue goal. The emotion might be discouraged. The story the belief story that it triggers is maybe I'm not cut out for this. Or if your challenge was inconsistent marketing, it might be the emotion of guilt. Like I feel guilty. I wasn't consistent. The story that might be brought up is I'm flaky or people can't trust me to show up. Trust me, this one, when I kind of was in that burnout mode and I really kind of stepped back for those 6, 7 weeks, the guilt, I really had to work through letting go of the guilt, right? And, that second part that people can't trust me to show up, that really is me speaking honestly and being authentic here with you guys, right? Like it's real. So again, this isn't about what society, this is us bucking up against society. So you're going to want to fill those in, right? So what is the emotion and what is the story that's being brought up for each one of those challenges? Now, you may not get through all of them as we're walking through this exercise, which is why I'm kind of copying and pasting from my notes into the comments, the action steps as we go through. So that way you can kind of reflect back on them. And remember, I'll pin this to the featured section for the next 30 days until Facebook takes it offline. But then it's also going to be found in the replay vault, and there'll be a worksheet attached to it. So you'll be able to download a worksheet from there. Okay, action 3 for this reflect and reframe step. You want to be able to reframe each of the challenges into a lesson or a win. Okay, so you want to ask yourself this question for each of the challenges you bring down. What did this challenge show me about what I need, what I want, or what actually works for me? So it might be I need a simpler offer, not 5 different things. My audience responds more when I'm live versus when I just post static graphics. It might be I can't do this alone. I need support. I need a template, that you can just kind of, it's like that to be able to duplicate it. I need accountability. It might be I was trying to build someone else's vision of success, and I wasn't truly being authentic to myself. So what did this challenge? So you're going to do this for each of them, right? What did this challenge? Now, is it going to copy it? There it is. What did this challenge show me what I need, what I want, or what actually works for me? Because remember, now we want to turn it into a lesson, right? We want to be able to identify what did we learn. And so for each of your 3 challenges, you want to be able to finish the sentence, the lesson is. The lesson is I thrive when I have structure and support. The lesson is my offers need to be clearer, more focused. The lesson is I can't keep running at a burnout pace. Yeah, that's mine. Right? So take a minute and write down your lessons. The lesson is I thrive when I have structured support. I can't keep running at a burnout pace. All right. And as you're watching the replay, feel free, or if you're here live, feel free to drop in the comments what your lesson was. If you want to share, we'd love that. Just because it also helps other people to realize, oh, I'm not alone. Other people are having the same experience or have had the same experience, right? And I want you just to remember this, that when we're reviewing these challenges, we're not doing it to punish ourselves or to punish you, right? We're doing these reflections to give you, to give me, to give us clarity. And again, we buck up against society all the time because society has this one expectation. So I want to remind you that you're not behind, no matter where you are in your business. You're not behind. You're better informed, right? So I just give yourself a bit of grace. This is where we get to dictate what is the pace we're working at and what the definition of success is. Nobody else tells us that. We get to decide that. Okay, so that was step one, reflect, reframe. You have your 3 action steps to do inside that first step. Step 2 is where we turn the lessons into aligned goals. Okay. And what we have to also remind ourselves is information is only as good as we use it. So it's not enough for us to be able to say, okay, I learned some lessons. Like I learned I can't run at a burnout lesson, like at a burnout pace, I mean, right? It's not enough just to identify the lesson. We have to figure out how to embrace it and put it into action. Because when we have the information, if we don't use it, we lose it, and we are in a position to keep going through the same cycle, the same experience. So taking that information, those lessons, and turning them into a very clear, doable goal is how we get to fit it into the season of your life. It's not this imaginary version of who you are or who you want to be with like an extra 40 hours a week, right? We're looking at just taking advantage of what we have and using it and implementing it. So turning lessons into aligned goals, again, 3 action steps. Simple. First one, you're going to choose a focus area for the new year. And you're only going to choose up to 3, no more than 3. Okay. So if you look back at the lessons that you just identified, ask yourself, if I honored those lessons, what are the main areas I would focus on next year? If I honored these lessons, what are the main areas I would focus on next year? Some common examples might be consistent lead generation, creating or simplifying a signature offer, building visibility in one main platform, improving systems and organization, or protecting your time and energy, right? With better boundaries. So on your paper, right, you're going to write down my focus areas for the new year. And then you're going to list 1 to 3. Remember, no more than 3, right? If we start trying to focus on too many things, things get fuzzy and overwhelming. And guess what happens? Paralysis sets in because we don't know where to go. We don't know what to be working on, and everything becomes a priority. So we really want to keep it to less than 3 areas of focus. So action number 2, we're going to turn these area of focuses that you've just identified into your SMART goals. So for each of the focus areas, right, you're going to start to outline some goals. But remember, for each one, you have to walk through the acronym, right? What is a specific outcome? How can I measure it? Is it achievable in my current season where I'm at in my business? Is it relevant to my bigger, my bolder vision? And what is my time-bound frame, right? Remember, because it's got to be time-bound, you got to put a time on that. And then with this holistic approach, remember the SMART HER goals, we've added that HER part, heart aligned. Does this feel true to who I am? Energizing. Do I feel a spark when I think about it? Do I get excited? Respectful. Does it respect my body, my time, my emotional bandwidth? Because we can set some amazing goals, but if it does not respect who we are and what we have available, then guess what? The achievable part is not going to happen, right? So let's walk through what one example might sound like. So let's say your focus is to be consistent lead generation, right? Because we've always got to be filling that pipeline in. So it's a great example. So a smart her goal might sound something like this. By March 31st, I consistently grow my email list by 25 new subscribers a month by hosting one live training per month, inviting people to a simple free resource. This feels exciting, doable, and doesn't require me to be online. So is it specific? Yes. Measurable? Yes. 25 subscribers per month. Time bound? Yes. By March 31st. Heart aligned, energizing, respectful. Check in with your body and your nervous system. Just take a moment and sit with the goal that you've set out. Does it feel like you're stretching yourself? You want it to stretch you. You want to kind of push your own boundaries. Not a lot. You don't want to feel like a punishment, but you want to feel like, yep, it's not a comfy sweater. It's a bit tight. So I'm going to kind of keep stretching with it, right? Until I outgrow it. So you want to take your focus areas and try to write a smarter goal version of it now. So you don't have to do all three. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Remember that, messy is okay, right? So just go for it. So you want to just jot down quickly for one of your three focus areas, what would a smarter goal be? All right. And then for action 3, right? For this step of turning lessons into aligned goals, our action 3, right? Because it's 3 simple action steps for each one, is you're going to attach a feeling and a metric to each of your goals. So what does this mean? It means we want to anchor them. We can only do that by really having something that we can measure the metric and the feeling. So we can anchor it within ourselves, right? So for each, here, and I'm going to attach a couple examples too when I do this. I put in here for you. So for each goal, I want you to finish the following 2 anchor statements. I want to feel more, dot, dot, dot. What is that feeling? You want to feel more calm, more confident, connected, grounded, proud. And what is your simple metric? So my simple metric is clients per month, sessions booked, workshops hosted, posts per week, money saved. What are those examples? What is that metric and what is the feeling? So actual examples. It might sound like I want to feel more confident and grounded in my marketing. My simple metric is showing up twice a month live and sending 2 emails a month. So that's action step number 3. So go ahead and write, what is that feeling? What is the metric for that for you, for each of your goals? Because remember, when we attach a feeling and like a simple metric, we are calmer about it. We actually are able to focus more clearly, right? It's allowing our bodies to be physically present and healthy. Because I don't know about you, but when I really get overwhelmed, I'm either really tired and I feel exhausted. And so I don't have the energy to do what I need to do. And so I'm really having to push myself. But when I know I'm working within like a really heart aligned, like really feeling centered with what I'm working on, then I have endless energy, right? Like doing these weekly trains with you guys, I get energized by doing them. I love doing them. And I hope you guys find them really helpful, especially with the changes we've made over the last month, where they're way more action oriented for you guys, where you actually have like, you walk away with strategies every week, right? So, okay. Now let's see where we at. We are into our 3rd step, right? So we've done reflection and reframing. We've created goals, right? Turn the lessons into aligned goals. Now, the third step is where we're actually going to create that simple 90-day action. And we don't need, like, I am a big supporter of having a business plan. That's different than what we're doing right now. Having a business plan is great because it's this master plan that I look at as a living document. It's a breathing document. It sits on your shelf. You can pull it down. And when you need to make really big decisions, or you need to make, a course correction, then your business plan helps guide you. You want to expand your team. Your business plan helps guide you to make sure you're staying aligned, right? But the 90-day action plan that we're going to create right now is simple. And it will ultimately dovetail with your business plan. But for this, it's simple. Okay, let's break it down. Again, 3 action items to create this 90-day plan. We're going to first break down the 90 days into 3 mini chapters. So on your page, I want you to write down chapter 1, month 1. It's your foundation. Chapter 2, month 2 is your visibility. Chapter 3, month 3 is your optimization. And if you want to rename them, you can, right? These are just for me, like I'm creating a foundation of what I want to build on. Visibility is I'm actually getting out there and doing what I want to do. And then optimizing, I'm going to actually like take what I've learned the first 2 months and I'm going to make some changes based on that, right? But this is just your starting frame. Okay. So for each chapter, you're going to answer, what is your main focus for the month? So an example might be month 1, your foundation month. You're going to clean up your offers page. You're going to fix your links. You're going to create a simple lead magnet or a free resource. Month 2, for visibility, you might commit to posting. What is your rhythm? What, is it weekly, twice a week, daily? What is your posting rhythm? Are you showing up live? Are you inviting people to your email list or booking, right? What's that look like for visibility? And then month 3, that optimization. This is where we kind of do a mini reflect, right? What performed well? Do more of what worked well. And then adjust the things that feel heavy or that aren't really aligned with who you are or what your goals are, right? So I want you to jot down just 1 or 2 bullets for each chapter. Nothing detailed, just really easy, right? So our second action step, just making sure. Okay, so our second action step, right? We're going to choose your rule of 3. These are your weekly habits. So we get to simplify even more. So ask yourself, if you could do 3 things each week to move my business forward towards these goals, right? What would they be? What would they be? What would be the 3 things that you could do each week to move your business forward? An example might be 3 connection actions per week, whether it be DMs or comments or emails to warm leads. It could be 2 to 3 pieces of content per week, a post, lives, emails. It could be 1 CEO hour per week, right? Where you're looking at your numbers, you're planning for the following week. The administrative stuff. So on your paper, I want you to write my weekly rule of 3. And then I want you to list what's your connection habit, what's your visibility or content habit, and then what's your CEO habit. Because these are going to be your non-negotiables. Okay? You're not looking at 20 tasks, 3 core habits. Because when we really focus on the simple things, they start to compound over time. Because we're building that success muscle. Because when we successfully do the small steps, the bigger steps don't become so overwhelming, right? So The third action, decide how you're going to stay supported. And I think this is something that we, as business owners, tend to think about, but don't actually put an action plan together for. Like we'll discuss it, we'll talk about it with friends or associates, but for us to actually take action, we kind of put it lower on the priority scale, right? So, because support, it seems we put it in as a last piece, but it is really one of your most critical steps. Because you don't have to do this alone, right? You'll actually move faster when you have the right support in place and it's consistent. So I want you to ask yourself, what kind of support do I need? Do you need a community? Do you need coaching? Do you need co-working sessions? Do you need templates or tools? Accountability buddies, right? Your business BFF. What does that look like? And then the second question you're going to ask yourself, when will I check on my progress? Weekly? Do I have a review time the same day and time each week? How are you going to check your progress? And then the third question is, where will I track my goals and my progress as I do these reviews? Is it a planner? Do you have a Google Doc? Are you using an app like Notion or any of the tools inside the Women's Business Resource Community Village? Right? So on your page, I want you to write my support plan and then fill in the following 3 questions. Support I need. My weekly check-in time. Where I'll track progress. When we write things down, we tend to take it a little more seriously. Our brains will remember it because we're not just having a conversation, we're not just thinking about it, we're actually physically writing it down, right? So for right now, what I want you to do as you're finishing, if you're writing, I want you to just put your pen down and I want you just to take a deep breath. And I want you to look at what you just created in the last 30 minutes. Think about it. Think the amount of work you've just done, you've completed. You've named your top 3 challenges without shame and without guilt. You've turned them into lessons and opportunities. You've chosen focus areas, and then you've turned those focus areas into smarter goals that are aligned. And you just finished sketching out a 90-day plan, right? With weekly habits and a support structure. You're not starting from scratch. You're actually starting from experience because you've been in business all this year, right? So now you've done the reflection and reframing. So you're not starting from ground zero. You're starting from a place of knowledge and experience and wisdom. And that you need to really celebrate and be proud of yourself for. Okay. If you want support and for actually like walking through this and maybe being more consistent with your rule of 3, checking in on your goals, and remember, you're not doing this alone because it's exactly what we do inside the Women's Business Resource Group, right? We have the town center, we have those micro groups inside of there that you can, jump into and connect with other women that you are seeking for. So the biweekly coaching, the monthly coaching sessions, right? So if you haven't already, for sure, create your free account at getbizsavvy.com/member. And with that, the monthly free coaching session interactive is tomorrow, Wednesday, the 10th of December at 12:30. You just need to log into your account, go to the events calendar and click on the link, and it'll take you to the Zoom to log in. As a neighbor, you get bi-weekly coaching sessions. And the next coaching session for our neighbors is this coming Thursday. So again, logging into your account, going to the calendar and clicking on the link to be taken there. You also get access to the replay vault, right? So inside the library, all of these trainings that we do inside of here every Tuesday, these lunch and learns and the previous trainings are all found within the library. And then there's a ton more, like over 300 other resources available inside the library for you. So join us inside the village. We'd love to have you as our neighbor. So much good stuff happening in there. And again, I'm really thankful that you were here today. Hopefully it was helpful to you, that you learned something and you were able to take something away and put something into place, an action plan, some strategies for the first quarter of 2026. All right. I appreciate you all. Thank you for being here. And again, we'll see you next week. Take care.